There is no shortage of beautiful places to explore in Colorado, whether you're hiking, camping, skiing, or catching a live show.
And that's the inspiration behind Colorado Soundstage, the PBS 12 original series that takes viewers on a journey through some of Colorado's most stunning and monumental venues, with live performances from artists from all different musical backgrounds.
Now that season 1 is streaming nationwide through PBS, we sat down with our own Tom Brainard to learn how the show came together.
Like the inception of Colorado Soundstage and like how that came to be.
Kristen Blessman, who was the GM at the time, had a buddy named Ginger, who was the head of arts and venues for Denver, and Arts and Venues owns Red Rocks. And then we got to thinking, like, we should do something with concerts. Because it wasn't really happening, and that was just a seed that was planted, and not much happened to it for a while until I had a brain fizz one night, and I had an acquaintance, an old buddy of mine that I'd worked with on some stuff before. He manages the John Denver estate and a bunch of like 50 different acts, one of which was Big Head Todd and the Monsters, which I was a super fan of because when I was going to college, I was blasting that stuff out the window, going up and down Broadway at CU. Maybe he would entertain a conversation with me about this, so I got on the phone with him and we started talking about it. And I was like, you know what, we want to make a show and at Red Rocks, and I got this idea that nobody makes music content in Colorado about the outdoor venues, which is that's our pièce de résistance, is like this outside stuff that we have here is unlike anything else in the world. And that can be the hook. So what if we did that? And what if Big Head Todd did that as our first show? And what if we didn't pay him? and he was like, okay. I was like, oh, but it's for PBS. He's like, oh, okay. Because that just gets you in the door, man. Like, especially when you don't have any proper finances to fund stuff. People give you a lot of leeway because they know it's for a public good. And it's legit. Big Head Todd was into it. We went and filmed the show. And as we were developing that, I had another brainwave, which was what we just talked about. A music show, and I watched a bunch of them, like Austin City Limits, and there were a few others. And all due credit to Austin City Limits doing 50 years as of last year, I was feeling that I was having a hard time paying attention in today's environment to a show that was just music for an hour. No disrespect to the artist, it's just there's too much going on, and I needed another hook to get invested. So that was, I went back to my toolkit, which was as a filmmaker and a storyteller, and I was like, we could film the concert, or we could have a conversation with these guys and really find out what makes them tick. Because I'm super like touchy-feely emotional guy about having those kinds of conversations, what I do in my sort of documentary filmmaker world. And I was like, what if we mix that in so that you kind of hook people with some storyline and wanting to hear maybe a new take on the history of the band and some universal views and values and sentiment that goes on in their brains as they're writing music, and have that segmented throughout the show. So that idea, outdoor venues, Big Head Todd, went to Red Rocks, shot the concert, did the interview in Jeremy, the keyboardist, basement in Wash Park, and which is also their rehearsal space. And we had absolutely no idea what we were doing. Yet, it was a fantastic conversation, and I was super giddy about it because I had listened to probably way over 1,000 hours of their stuff over the last decade, like, or more, and just how much it impressed me as a person. I was now having those conversations with Todd and that about what he was writing and what it was coming from, and he was super vulnerable about it, talking about some really delicate things in his life and some very quotable, like, genius level things that he had come to in his career. And yet he's still a dad who lives in Littleton trying to get I think he said, I'm just trying to get my kids to eat breakfast. And it was like this very human thing that came out of these conversations. attached to this very creative, artistic expression stuff that most people see, and that combined force I thought made for a really interesting thing. And so that was it, man. And then I was just off to the races, like calling Brian back, like, who else you got? I want to do more. And we got in touch with other folks over the preceding 2 years, because it's taken a while. And so Shane Smith, which is another one of Brian's clients, they're out of Austin. They came up, we got them last year, another kick-ass conversation. And then got in touch with Craig, who owns the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. I don't even know how we met him, but what a character that guy is. And we ended up being able, he gave us the blessing to come shoot the Telluride Bluegrass Festival with Elephant Revival. And for those of you who haven't been to Telluride, I mean, it's heaven. Have you ever been there?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Telluride is like heaven even for Coloradans. Like, it's just ridiculous how beautiful that place is. So we went up there and shot that, and obviously the landscape played a role, and the Bonnie and Elephant Revival were amazing, and so we did that, and then got Trampled by Turtles, which I hadn't heard of at the time, and I thought that was just the best name in rock and roll. It turns out they weren't rock and roll, kind of are though. They were called speedgrass at the time, like fast bluegrass. Speedgrass. Okay. I don't think they like that term anymore, but at the time it was speedgrass. But they were just awesome. We got them at the Grand Lake Folk Festival, which didn't happen this year, happened last year. Did the interview downtown Denver with Dave, who, again, like an amazing creative spirit, who was also just a dad taking his kids to baseball games. And there was something so endearing about these stories. We did it, and now it's out.
Season 1 of Colorado Soundstage features performances from all kinds of bands, from Shane Smith and the Saints, Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Elephant Revival, and Trampled by Turtles.
You can stream every episode now with PBS Passport. In the coming weeks, we'll also be showing our own special Colorado Soundstage spotlights here on Studio 12.